G'day guys, welcome back. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildcard Rugby Show. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, Six Nations final round, Ireland versus Scotland, Triple Crown on the line, Lansdowne Road. This was absolutely amazing game of rugby. How crazy, the way that rugby is played has changed so quickly, right? It wasn't that long ago where both teams would be aiming to kick penalties and try to hold on to 3 points in a match like this. Going and, based on the performance in the last couple of rounds, this is actually exactly what I was expecting. Both teams with the intent and ambition to score tries and really just not backing down from just, really don't want to take that easy option with 3 points. I talk about this a lot in my channel in the past. I do feel like taking 3 points is not always the right option. As we've seen, like England is one of the worst, it's actually pretty much the worst performing team right now because of the fact that they always default to taking the penalties because they think that scoreboard pressure, whatever that means to the concept, is really important. I talk about this a lot. The fact that if you control the ball, you're able to dictate where the game is played. You're able to control the time, game time, that is available to you to control and utilize game time to your favor. Is more important than just kicking the ball away and allow the opposition to play the ball and dictate the game time in their desires, right? And a lot of times we've seen this so many times in so many teams where you will kick 3 points and then only to immediately concede like a try from the kickoff because you've given up the pressure. You've sometimes the teams mentally check out after kicking the 3 points, and I think I really like to see to actually seeing the shift all around the world that teams are moving away from just kicking threes and becoming more becoming really ambitious in terms of playing rugby and scoring tries, and it's just great, amazing for rugby and amazing for the fans that enjoys the sport. Now, if you're an Irish fan and you can see that I'm wearing the Irish jersey, I'm really happy for you guys because finally, man of the match, first of all, Crowley, finally, you guys have discovered the next 10 that could potentially take you guys out of the quarterfinals at the Rugby World Cup, right? A lot of you guys gave me a lot of hate last year when I said none of your 10s was going to make it into the Lions tour in the starting team. And sure enough, that didn't happen. I just didn't think that either Crowley or Prendergast was at the level that needs even remotely close of Johnny Sexton, remotely close of being a top fly half that could dictate a Lions tour essentially. But what the performance tonight from Crowley, huge step up, not just from what happened last year, but even just from a few weeks ago. Crowley just significantly found his stride in the last few weeks. I talk about how Gibson Park is kind of like has been, the emergency guy, the firefighter that puts out the problem, the fires on the field, right? He will just see where the problem is and try to fix it himself with his kicking game, and he will direct the forwards to areas where he thinks they should go, and then basically send the ball to as the playmaker out of the 9 position and dictate where the ball goes, right? And we've seen that the basically almost like a hand holding with the 10 from Gibson Park, and with whether it's Prendergast or Crowley in the previous rounds, where a lot of the decision making are done at the 9 and the 10 is kind of just there to just like feed the ball, and really the options are already set up for the 10 to kind of like to choose from, right? And in the last few rounds, and especially in this game, Crowley's really starting taking over as the decision maker out of the 10. He's been given the agency to play the game the way he wanted to do at the 10 position. You can see him organize players around him, and we're going to look at some of the organization. Quite frankly, I thought the way that he organized the options that are on the field was better than the way Finn Russell was organizing it. In fact, sometimes Finn Russell likes to hang out a bit wider, and he lets the 9 does the organization around the rocks, and he just takes the ball wider and picks the options around him out of like the 13 channel. That's what Finn Russell typically likes to do because he can run the ball himself as a threat. Whereas Crowley is more of a traditional 10 play style, more like the Johnny Sexton-esque style, where he organizes players around where he wants them to go, plenty of options for himself, and also he keeps himself alive and available to touch the ball multiple times in a sequence of play. That's the real threat that he brings to the Ireland team, something that we haven't seen for a very long time. So he's not only able to get the ball and then direct the ball to the right people that he wants to go, and then immediately swings around without and become a support runner in the same sequence of play. Just really, really impressive stuff. And also just the fact that he's able to organize the attack, it leaves the Nye with options everywhere, right? He can choose to go to the forward packs that he's organized around himself, or he can go to Crowley, and who's got his own pods and runners and decoys set up behind him as well. So just opens up so many options for the Irish team, both out of the Nye and the secondary options that opens up at 10, which just makes the attack just incredible difficult to shut down, especially if your man goes to advance over the advantage line, or if you're a defense, your man goes to shut the opposition down before the advantage line. It becomes much more difficult when you have so many different options that everybody's tracking, different angles, people that are running, and just the brilliance in the Irish attack really put on display tonight, especially with Crowley at the 10. Prendergast was given the opportunity to independently organize the attack line in the first round against the French, and we saw how that went, right? It was pretty lackluster, and you just basically had like a straight line, and then Prendergast only had like basically like a short pass and then like a cutout, and that's basically it he had for himself. And then for the next a few rounds, we saw essentially Gibson Park start hand-holding the players at the 10, doing a lot of decision making, and this one, I think, and in fact, I thought maybe the Irish team has to completely shift to a style where they have to play around the 9, right? Like maybe a French style or something. But after this game, I am much more confident that Ireland can shift to their, to that Johnny Sexton style, where all the players are coming out of the 10, and very impressive. So let's have a look at some of the setups that I'm talking about. This one, it's late in the game, and this is where actually Ireland scored. You can see Crowley getting the ball here, right? He's got 1, 2, 3, 4. I like 5, and maybe there's another guy outside. 6 options. That's all available for him to hit, right? It's not like just the line where he can just hit, maybe 2 guys here and then a long pass over the top. He's literally got himself set up, 5 we can see, and maybe this. I think there's one guy further out. 6 options, where he can all pick out. And the thing is, like, I don't have a video play. The thing is, once he passes this ball, he loops around and get himself involved again later in the same sequence of play as well. Also, I just want you to notice, because we're going to do a comparison with the Scottish team in terms of their attack, one of the things I did notice that is very visibly different from the mentally speaking from the Irish side, and I think that's because Gibson Park is organizing some of the things. Even the players that are not actively involved in the play, they are actively looking like they're going to get the ball. So if you look at here, I think that's McCloskey. He's in a position to receive a ball, even though the ball has gone the other way, but he set himself up to receive the ball here. So, whereas if you watch the Scotland team, once the ball is gone, right? This is not a good picture. Once the ball is gone here, like this is one. Once the ball's gone to a direction, you can't really see anyone. There's no one here. But with the Scotland team, you will notice that once the ball has decided to go to a certain direction, the players that are not involved in that direction, you can see that they are just like standing around. They're clearly not even like pretending to receive the ball. Whereas the Irish team are always active, always looking at getting the ball, even though everybody knows the ball's going to go to Crowley. They're always looking at getting the ball because you never know, something opens up in front of them. And what happens is he engages the defense, because these guys here, they can't drift around. And it opens up space for Crowley to do his thing, right? That's why when Crowley loops around, there's suddenly a gap opening up, and the next thing you know, someone is through a gap for a try. Whereas if you standing around here and you're clearly looking like you're not gonna get the ball, and you're just walking towards the next pod or whatever, the players here are less. Some of these players here can start drifting across to defend where the ball is going. So just that little stuff really made a massive difference in terms of the outcome of the game, especially late in the game when players are tired, and it becomes more and more important to try to engage the players that are not actively defending to keep them in place for the what is it for in place to create space for your players out wide. So if you look at this one here, this is a more of a typical Scotland attack line, and I'm pretty sure Finn Russell is here. I'm pretty sure that's Finn Russell right there, right? You can see that is either there or yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Finn Russell there, or maybe that could also be Hugh Jones. But anyway, you can see that there's 3 forwards here. So the 9, it's only got 3 forwards, and there is really not much options here for anyone. And even if, say, the 9 passes the ball to this guy here, right? He's only got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Maybe this is basically one option. That's just a short pass there, and then a long pass out wide to Stain, and that's basically it. All right, you can see the difference in terms of the setup. Crowley had a way more dimension, way more options available to him when it comes to the attack, whereas Scotland, much flatter and much more of a, I can see here again, much flatter, much more of a much more predictable in terms of where the ball might go. So even here you can see that Finn Russell, even if the ball goes to him right here, he's only got like a 1, 2, and a cutout, right? 3, you technically can hit all of them, but these 2 guys are basically the same option, right? Basically a cutout over the top, and it just got a short one to Pelotu, and also maybe a backdoor play with I think this is the Giraffe Man, Kinghorn here, right? So that and Hugh Jones here. So he's got a few options, but again, everyone's pretty flat, and it's just a number up game. And whereas if you look at an Irish team, there's so much depth. There's 2 flat runners here already, and you got a secondary runner set up to do another sweep around for like a backdoor play from. So I'm pretty sure what happened here is one of these guys, did a backdoor play to Bundy Aki, and then he crashed through, and the next thing you know, suddenly there was basically Crowley swept around quickly, got the ball, and then sent through O'Brien for a try right here in this very play, right? So you can see the difference, and I'm very, once again, it's Finn Russell is already one of the best players in the world when it comes to 10 and when it comes to organizing the players around him. And I just think that the Crowley is doing a really, really good job and setting up multiple phases, whereas Finn Russell is still, as good as he is, he's setting up just one phase for himself to maximize the result. But I guess it's not really fair because this is kind of close to the try line. You don't want to be that deep anyway. But still, my point is that Crowley has really, really, really stepped up his game for Ireland. Even here, right, you can see these guys here are talked about being engaged, even though they're not going to get the ball. Everybody, you can see this guy's clearly going to get the ball. He's already running into it. But these guys are all engaged, looking at they could potentially be receivers at all times, which is really, really important. And that sometimes, something that the Scotland team wasn't doing at all. Okay, wasn't doing it at all. Players not part of the attack, doesn't even look like they're gonna even pretend to receive the ball at all. So with that being said, yeah, great news for the Irish team. This was a let's see. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about in terms of the number 9. Yeah, so let's have a look at the match stats of the game. Let me know your thoughts about Crowley, and I know there's been this bit of debate whether Crowley or Prendergast should be the 10. I think this was a huge step up, and I don't think Prendergast is anywhere near the level of Crowley based on what we saw tonight. So in the end of the game, one last thing I do want to talk about. I do think that the Six Nations needs to change the bonus point system. So here in the Southern Hemisphere, you have to score 3 tries more than the opposition to get the winning bonus point. You still get the losing bonus point by, losing less than 7. That's still the same, but you can't just score 4 tries and get a bonus point anymore. You have to actually win by more than 3, which I think is a little bit too much, to be honest. I think 3 is too much. You're getting a problem where teams just don't bother because it's just too hard to score 3 tries more than the opposition consistently. So teams sometimes just don't bother. But I do think that 2 tries maybe will be a really good way to go. Like you can, because it's really easy to get a bonus point. It's really easy to get a bonus point denied if you just if you suddenly let's a try in, get denied, and suddenly if you only try 1 try ahead and the opposition might not try hard enough, and suddenly you get 2 tries and then you get a bonus point, right? I think that's a better way because you actually have to the bonus points contested. Whereas in this situation where you just get a bonus point by scoring 4 tries, not only that, it's not. I just think that the way that you could get in a situation one day, right, where let's say both of these teams are on equal points. Right? Now Scotland need a bonus point to potentially win the Six Nations. If France wins without a bonus point, or if so it's just let's imagine if both teams are in the situation where if they win with a bonus point, France has to win with a bonus point against England to win Six Nations. You could get into a position where, not saying that they need to be colluding, you could get in a situation where both teams are incentivized to just score tries and not worry about defense, or not saying that they're going to tell each other that's the way they're going to do it, but they can just play with more emphasis in scoring than defending, and you end up in a situation where both these teams could end up with a bonus point win, a bonus point already on board for scoring 4 tries, and whoever wins the game basically has the best opportunity of winning Six Nations, pending on France's result of obviously whether France get a bonus point or not. But you can see that's not really the intent of the bonus point. The intent of the bonus point is not to just kind of like, let's forget about defense and it'll play benefit for everyone, right? That's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to encourage team to score more tries, but not to the extent that it's just like where you can just, it'll be beneficial to you to just ignore defense, or both teams to just ignore, or not ignore defense, but like to to put less emphasis on defense, right? The point of the bonus point is not to shift away from defense, but to encourage attack. So I think that the way it is currently set up, there's in certain situations where it discourages defense, or like it's the teams are basically, imagine if this game both teams decided to not go for tries and just kick penalties, and then basically they put themselves in a position that neither of them could win the Six Nations anymore. All France has to do is win the game, and they win the Six Nations. Whereas if they both just score a bunch of tries, then the French has to score a bonus point, which makes it a lot more difficult for the French to win the Six Nations. So I do think that there could be a conflict of interest being created in the current setup. At some point in the future, that might become a big issue, and I just don't think that's the way that it's set up. It's a good way to go about it. I do think that the way that we set up here in Southern Hemisphere, where the bonus point could be denied if you if you forget about your defense, is the way to go. But I do think that 3 tries is a bit too much. I think 2 will be a good level to set where the bonus point should be, right? So you have to score 2 tries more than the opposition to get a bonus point. If you lose within 7, you also get the losing bonus point, but then you could get both of those points denied, right? Because the losing bonus point could get denied if the margin falls greater than 7. Why should the try scoring bonus point just be there and cannot be denied, right? I think that everything in rugby should be a contest, and including the bonus point should be a contest for that as well, and can be denied. I think that should be the way to go about it. Anyway, match of the game: 6 tries to 3, 429 run meters to the Ireland, 288 for Scotland. Let's just refresh this to make sure that's correct. 123 carries for Ireland, 162 for Scotland. Still couldn't quite get there. 23 defenders bidden for Scotland as well, 18 defenders bidden for Ireland, and they score more tries. My goodness. So the efficiency is a lot higher for the Irish team. Yeah, run meters per carry, and the defense is a lot better there as well. Turnovers conceded: 14 against Scotland, 12 against Ireland. 227 tackles made for Ireland, 23 missed tackles, like 10%. That's just really, really good. 159 tackles made for Scotland, 18 tackles missed for Scotland's side. 6 turnovers won for Ireland, no turnovers won for Scotland. 22 kicks in play for Ireland, 21 for Scotland. 1 missed conversion. A goal kicking was pretty good as well for Crowley tonight. 539 kicks in play for Ireland, 470 meters kicked from hand for Scotland. Lineouts, no loss out of 10 for Ireland, 13-1 for Scotland, 1 lost. Scrum, I thought scrum was, again, an interesting battle. No scrum loss for Ireland out of 6. There was 1 scrum loss against Scotland for 2. I do think that the scrum was unsteady at times, and it's a little bit hard to say. It's a little bit hard to say what the issue was, but yeah, I thought the referee got a good handle on getting the scrum going, not letting it drag on for too long, which I thought was pretty decent overall. Was there I can't really remember, but was there no, I think it's anyway, moving on. Penalties considered, just refresh this again. 7 for both teams, so world class discipline for both teams, and no yellow cards. Again, very few penalties considered inside their own half. Even if you kick those, it's not going to be enough points to win the game, which is something that I talk about a lot. Anyway, let's move on to the points summary of the game. So yeah, 2 minutes into the game, there was there was a scrum set up for Ireland. What happened here? There was basically was it a line out or was it a scrum? There was a scrum penalty to Scotland. They went for the line out. Anyway, there was a little backdoor play for Crowley. There was too many tries to score. I can't even remember what happened here, but based on what I've written. There was a backdoor play from Crowley. Eventually, Osborne goes in for the try. 7 points to 0. 7 minutes into the game, a lot of crash play from Scotland, hitting back right away. The Irish team was not shutting down the Scottish team in the advance before the advantage line, and then just keeps going backwards. And eventually, they ran out of space, and Graham just crashed over for the try. 7 points apiece. 11 minutes in the game, there was penalty for Ireland. They kick it out for a line out. Just standard Irish more. Sheehan saw the gap near the try line between the more and the first defender. Just ran himself through. We've seen this time and time again. 14 points to 7. 19 minutes in the game, there was a scrum from pretty far out, like 40 meters out. The ball went out. Just a little backdoor play. McCloskey threw the ball over the top, a long pass, and then Bellacombe ran down the sideline. He got tackled just before try line, and then kept his leg up without touching the sideline and dunked the ball into the corner. 19 points to 7. The missed conversion. And 28 minutes. I don't know what the Scottish team was doing. They had Blair Kinghorn in the front of the line as the jumper, and then lifted it up. And he won the line. Blair Kinghorn, and the lifter, I think was Darcy Graham or something, and it was like one of the backs lifted him as well. It was just like, what are you guys doing? The ball did get stolen, not from the line out, but in the subsequent play. But it was just like, okay, what's going on here, guys? I mean, I can understand if you're trying to use that as a dummy, but to actually just get the ball was a little bit bizarre. Anyway, that's half time. 19 points to 7. Second half, it took about 12 minutes in second half before Scotland getting themselves into a bit of front foot play. They had a penalty. The Scotland taking a tap on the penalty, and then Finn Russell just gets the flat ball pass from his teammate, and he just carves himself through for a with a dummy and go through for the try. 19 points to 14. 56 minutes in the game. Ireland, again, just working left and right. Lots of pick and go and lots of just forward pressure. And then eventually Murray crashed over for the try. 26 points to 14. 60 minutes, Scotland hits right back. Stain ran down the sideline, right? And it looked like he got pretty close. The ball kind of quickly swung back midfield. And then a couple big carries later, Roy Dyche crashed over for the try. 26 points to 21. Suddenly it's looking like there could be a massive upset in the making. Oh, this is a little bit of criticism here. 65 minutes, Ireland basically emptied the bench. Like, it was like 5 or 6 substitutions. It's kind of like the bomb squad, but not forwards. But it was like, other than the props already been swapped out. So it was basically everybody else except the front rowers, including the backs, was put onto the field. And then immediately the Irish team did kick up another level. I do feel like they should have put the team on at 60 minutes to stop the Kyle Stan try. That was clearly a lot of tired bodies out there. I felt like the timing of this was a little bit too late. Should have been 5 minutes earlier, maybe even 10 minutes earlier, 55 minutes. Maybe this should have come on. But still, they did the job coming on. Immediately, Bang Diaki was crushing through some defenders. And then eventually, 67 minutes, there was, again, the Irish was working center field. Frawley hit up a little bit of defense and then post-contact offload for Osborne that went in for the try. In fact, this try was basically based off this. Bandiaki crash here, and then Frawley, I think Frawley here maybe got the ball through a little gap and he offloaded to Osborne, who ran in for the try. Scoreboard suddenly ticks up to 33 points to 21. 72 minutes, Ireland actually did probably the times that actually make sense to kick 3 points, because they are less than 2 tries less than 2 tries ahead. And if they kick 3, there will be more than 2 tries ahead. So Scotland has scored 2 tries and then some to actually win the game. So just really, playing the numbers game and playing the, there's only 8 minutes left on the clock. So the kick 3 here, 36 points to 21. Sure enough, Scotland was desperately trying to run out their own half at 79 minutes. There was a knock on by Tuipulotu, and then the ball was scooped up by McCloskey, and he just ran into the defender, offload the ball over the top to O'Brien, who ran through for his second try of the night. And 43 points to 21. Huge win for Ireland, and I think that a lot of you guys will be pretty happy with what Prendergast delivered for the nation. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I look forward to the 4th of July showdown for the Irish here in my backyard at Moore Park Road, and let's call it Down Under Road, Land Down Under Road. And looking forward to that one, and looking forward to a massive upset for the Wallabies. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Cheers.